12 years after the gruesome murder of 21-year-old Agnes Wanjiru by a British soldier Batuk in Nanyuki, Kenya, justice is yet to be served.
There's a lady who's called Agnes Wanjiru.
Kenyan woman in Nanyuki town.
It's been 12 years of delayed justice.
And the search for justice in the murder of Agnes Wanjiru.
Agnes Wanjiru. The family of the late Agnes Wanjiru has accused.
12 years after the gruesome murder of 21-year-old Agnes Wanjiru by a British soldier Batuk in Nanyuki, Kenya, justice is yet to be served. Her body was discovered dumped in a septic tank at the Lions Gate Hotel in Nanyuki in June 2012. According to witnesses' reports, Agnes was last seen alive on 31st March at the hotel in the company of 2 British soldiers who were in Kenya for training. The inquest to her murder was closed in 2019, with the judge concluding that indeed Agnes was murdered by a British soldier.
Kulikuwa 2012 mwezi wa 3 alipotea date 31. Wakati alienda akurudi, mwenye rafiki yake walikuwa na yeye asubuhi akakuja akaita na Shiro. Nikaitika nikamwambia Shiro hayuko. Kwanza wakati alienda saa hiyo, walienda kitu kama saa 1 hivi ama saa 2. Nikaingia kwa nyumba, nilikuwa kwa neighbor. Kurudi nikakuja nikauliza wasichana, kwani Shiro wako wapi? Wameenda na nani? Na Flora na Susi. Nikawauliza mtoto wako wapi? Wameenda na yeye. Mimi nikaingia nikaangalia kwa kitanda nikaona mtoto hajawasha, wameenda na yeye. Yeye hakukuwa na simu ati nitampigia nimuulize kwa nini ameenda na mtoto wapi. Tukalala. Asubuhi yake ndio Susi alikuja asubuhi akaita na Shiro. Nikaitika nikamwambia Shiro hayuko. Hakuniambia kitu, akaenda. Ilikuwa 6. Kukaa akakuja tena akaita na Shiro, nikamwambia Shiro hajarudi. Sasa hiyo hata hakuniambia kitu, akaenda. Kitu kama saa 6 hivi tukitokea kanisa akanipigia simu. Akaniambia mama Freche, Shiro tulikuwa na yeye Lions Court na tulitoka huko bila yeye na tukaenda mpaka polisi tukaripoti, tukamwangalia huko tukaona yuko huko polisi na mtoto wake ako kwetu. Mimi nilimjibu nikamwambia mimi usiniambie mambo ya mtoto sababu siwezi chukua mtoto kama mama yake hapatikane. Hiyo ilikuwa mwezi wa sasa tukakaa wa 4, wa 5. Kitu mwezi wa 6 hapo ndio wasichana walikuja sasa kuniambia kuna mtu ametolewa wapi huko. Tukaenda huko hospitali. Kuingia ni yeye. Sasa niseme vyenye alikuwa amekaa. Niambia alikuwa amemwagilia madawa juu alikuwa anamwaga maji. Lakini ukimwangalia unamjua ni yeye. Hakukuwa nyama zikuwa zimetoka. Ni hapa tu kwa hii mguu alikuwa imekaa hivi nyama na hapa hii mfupa ilikuwa inaonekana. Na miguu vidole zilikuwa zimetoka, alikuwa naasho na kidole kubwa 2. Hii na hii. Na hii ingine hivi. Huku hakuwa na hii. Hakuwa na hizi. Sasa tukakaa, tukaandikisha. Kukaa, tukaambiwa kuna postmortem. Tukaenda tukafanya postmortem, alafu tukakubaliwa tuende tukamzike.
Rose Wanjiru, an elder sister to Agnes, says she feels her family has been denied justice as the wheels of justice have been turning slowly over the years. To put this into perspective, Agnes left behind a 5-month-old daughter, Stacy, who's now 12 years.
Paka sasa tujapata haki. Kwa ufupi.
Hamjapata haki mpaka sasa? Na hamjui kesi iko aje kotini bado?
Hatujui ni aje.
Ama ukienda kotini kuna kitu unaambiwa tena?
Tunaenda tunakuta wenye wanahitajika huko, hakuna mwenye anakuja. Wenye wanakuja wengine wakuji. Wenye wanakuja wengine wakuji. Mnapewa siku ingine. Sasa tuseme sasa wakati tulikuwa tumeenda, sasa tumepewa mwezi wa 11. Hatujui hiyo siku ya hiyo kama itaendelea ama itaendelea. Unasikia vibaya. Sasa mtoto alikuwa ameachwa na miezi 5, sasa ni mtu wako na miaka karibu anaenda miaka 13. Amebakia ngapi? Hata yeye achukue hiyo kesi ya mama yake kama haijaisha, kama itakuwa imeisha. Ni ushungu.
In 2021, some UK media outlets reported the alleged killer soldier had confessed to a fellow squad member of having killed Agnes. This was through a private Facebook chat as the soldiers laughed and mocked Agnes. All the soldiers who had been at the said hotel quietly returned to the UK without facing charges. This mockery led to the Kenyan police reopening the case, which had gone quiet. James Mwangi, who runs an NGO that works with victims of Batuk, says there has been a cover-up from both the Kenyan and UK governments.
9 years now, the family of Agnes Wanjiru in Laikipia County has been on a long search for justice until one military officer confessed to Sunday Times, a daily issue in England, that the accused told him that he killed her.
I were in the pub and he come in crying, saying, help me, help me. I said, why? What do you mean? I've killed her. What do you mean you've killed her? Show me.
So the British Army is still insisting that they are not subject to the rules of Kenya.
They committed a major cover-up. So why this case of Agnes Wanjiru is taking all those years is that some senior officers in UK, they don't want to be exposed, because maybe they want even that case to take another maybe 30 years, so that those guys would have died as a result of natural issues.
The investigation is still going on, so they feel like what they did is something inhumane, because why would you even go make fun of someone's death, even saying that you saw a child crying at the grave? They were making fun, and it seems that they're so inhumane and they don't care. By the end of the day, we are blacks. They were our colonizers, so they feel entitled to it. They're in Kenya.
Who knows what happened? This matter was reported. The crime was committed here. The soldier was taken back to UK.
Previously, the British soldiers enjoyed sovereign immunity and hence could not be tried in Kenyan courts. Kenya's Parliamentary Committee on Defense has been reviewing this agreement to allow soldiers who commit murder and other crimes be tried within our jurisdiction.
The British military training unit, is on record as saying that they are not subject to trial within the Republic of Kenya. Then our question is, where was this murder committed if they cannot be tried on the soil of the Republic of Kenya? The best place to get justice for the Kenyan, that is Agnes Wanjiru and her family, is within the four corners of the Republic of Kenya.
It makes me upset and angry because there is a petition that we have filed in our Kenyan courts, and what they responded, they say that they can be sued in Kenya because our courts lack jurisdiction. And then I question why would they say that, yet they are the one responsible for aunt killing. And also the Kenyan government also, they don't care about the victims. the victims of human rights abuses of the Batuk, all they get what comes from the Batuks, the small peanuts that they get as the government, so that the Batuk can train here. It always makes me angry and upset.
The sovereign immunity issue was defeated in Nanyuki with the Roldaiga case. So why is that the British Army is still insisting that they are not subject to the rules of Kenya? They have said that. And I think that is quite irresponsible. And it's time now the government of Kenya take notice that even after the courts of the Republic of Kenya making it very clear that British government is not immune. Today they have said again that we are not immune and we are not subject to the laws of this country.
In 2022, James Hippie, the then UK Armed Forces Minister while in Kenya, denied cover-up from his government. Hippie further promised cooperation in resolving the case of Agnes Wanjiru. However, since then, nothing much has been done to bring the perpetrators to book.
The UK has nothing to hide here. We want these investigations to be dealt with as quickly as possible. We want those responsible to be brought to justice, because Agnes and her family have already had to wait too long for these cases to be resolved. We need that now to be investigated and brought to the courts here in Kenya as quickly as possible, and any further allegations that come to light will be dealt with the same urgency on our part.
No, there's no reason why it needs to be. All that this needs is for the Kenyan and UK government to resolve one or two outstanding issues that allow the two legal systems to interact.
So how will that happen? I don't feel like I'm getting a clear response on how that will be, so the solution will come in.
Well, I can't. I mean, I'm deliberately not giving you that detail because it's not detail that it's either in the Kenyan government or the UK government's interest to expand on. But what I can tell you is that they are very easily resolvable issues. There are parts of the delay that are made here in Kenya, and there are parts of the delay that are made in London, and I know that politicians in both countries will want to ask some very challenging questions of ourselves and our officials to understand why this has taken so long. What happens now from the UK part is that the Secretary of State for Defence has been absolutely clear with the Chief of the General Staff, who leads the British Army, with the Provost Marshal, who is responsible for policing within the British Armed Forces, that there will be no delay whatsoever in providing whatever evidence is asked for by the Kenyan investigation. And I know because one of the suspects in the case is no longer serving in the British Armed Forces, that the British civilian police, the Lancashire police, are also involved in the investigation. They too are aware of the importance, and they too are acting with all speed to make sure there's no further delay.
Esther Mushiri is the family spokesperson and a niece to Agnes. She asked me to accompany her to the site where Agnes was buried.
How does it make you feel?
It makes me feel sad because it's 12 years now and no justice has been served to my family. And it's so sad even since this, she's grown. She was left when she was 5 months old, now she's 12. Don't know what to tell her, that justice has never prevailed yet. The Batuks are here, they're still training in Kenya. Everything is going on as normal, but for the family of Agnes Wanjiru, nothing is normal to us.
What do you miss most about your aunt Agnes?
She used to smile a lot. We used to make fun when all of us, when she was around, she used to take care of us when mom is not around. So we always miss her so much. Her presence meant so much joy in our family, but now she's no more. Yeah, we were only left to look for her justice.
How old were you when she passed on, and at that moment, what was it like for you?
I was 8 years old when she passed away. She was my best friend, so I can remember very well what happened, what transpired from the day she went missing until the day that we discovered her body that was retrieved from the septic tank.
Nilikuwa nikienda safari na muacha huku kwangu. atakaa na watoto. Alikuwa akiwapikia. Alikuwa anawashuka nywele. Sikukuwa napeleka watoto saluni. Ni yeye alikuwa anawashuka. Na kukuwa na mambo mingi ati ukimwambia Shiro nataka unifanyie hii, ati atakurudishia kuambia mimi sifanye ama nini.
In November 2023, King Charles visited Kenya. His visit elicited mixed reactions among Kenyans, reviving memories of the many atrocities committed by the British during the colonial era. The host communities around the Batuk barracks in Nanyuki expected King Charles would address the issue of atrocities committed by the Batuk soldiers, but he did not. The family of Agnes was devastated that the king was visiting while their king was killed by one of his troop members.
Wakati alikuja huku alitaka kukutana na mtu na tulikuwa tunamuomba. Kwa hivyo hata yeye ni kama kuonyeshana, yeye labda alisikia sisi ni maskini, hataki kutuona. Na ujue ni serikali mbili, hii inajua sisi ni maskini, si hata shidania, watawaambia wachane yani na wao.
Last year, when King Charles was coming on the eve of his visit, the story was being aired everywhere on the televisions. Stacy saw the story and she was in grade 6, so the following day she was supposed to sit for her national exams. She started crying. I was in Nairobi, so my mom called me and she tells me that Stacy is crying. I asked her what is wrong. She tells me that she has seen her mom's story being aired, yet the commander-in-chief of the Batuk is coming to Kenya and justice has not yet prevailed. It was a sad moment for me even and my family, trying to comfort her. There's a time that she asked my mom, during that time that she was crying, last year, when King Charles was here, she said, why is her mom perpetrator is still walking free while she's struggling in a slum here in Kenya? Well, even the government, no one seems to care, both the governments, the UK and the Kenyan governments.
I think the British government, they have tried to get a strategy whereby these guys, when they come to Kenya, there are some military police who monitor their movements. During the weekend, I have seen these military police following them up to the clubs. But you still hear that they go, they use those taxis and they assault those sex workers. They do some things which are, I don't know how they hide. But the best thing to the British, they are supposed to be taught that Africans, when they come to Kenya, they're supposed to treat people how they treat other people in the UK or wherever they do their training. For them to stay with these guys and monitor what they do there in the field. Here in the towns also, let they leave these boys to the military police alone. They come using taxis. They don't use military vehicles. They don't know what happens between the camp to those clubs or between the club to where they go and have fun with these women. There's supposed to be a strategy of monitoring these people, staying with them, set some time in clubs, for instance, maybe from 11 to 4, then they are taken back to the camp. By that time, there will not be a lot of cases happening.
Former Director of Criminal Investigations George Kinoti, while appearing in Parliament, cited that from the autopsy report, Agnes might have been thrown in the septic tank, possibly while still alive. Kinoti further revealed the names of the suspected soldiers who up to this day are yet to face justice.
On the 13th June 2012, the autopsy was conducted by one Dr. Obiero Okod, who opined that the cause of death was due to chest and abdominal injuries. He further observed that the deceased could not have been placed in the septic tank alive, as injuries sustained were not fatal enough to kill her. The Royal Military Police have provided the investigation team with more details of the British Army soldiers who were at the Lions Court Hotel on the fateful day as follows. Henry Riam Robert, Renford James William, Swens Ryan, Creighton Daniel, Thornton Daniel John, Smith Carl Eric. According to the Royal Military Police, the above identified witnesses have information to link and identify the soldier who killed the deceased. The body was dressed only in a bra and under a packet of unused condoms, tucked inside the bra.
Kenya continues to sign different pacts with the UK government, even as the issue of Agnes remains unresolved.
For now, is Kenya and the United Kingdom cooperating to ensure that justice is done in that matter, because neither Kenya nor the United Kingdom condones injustice or impunity, and I think progress has been made. But I think that has not been the subject for discussion this morning. We'll be looking at closure very soon on the matter of the death of Ms. Wanjiru, which occurred some years back. And it's also part of perhaps what would happen when you have interactions. You expect a few unfortunate incidents, but the two countries are resolving the matter diplomatically, quietly, and also in the spirit of friendship and openness. And when the matter is concluded fully, we'll be able to report progress.
Kenyan government would weigh whether to deal with Agnes Wanjiru matter or go and borrow money for development. So they will prioritize development money than Agnes matter, because to them Agnes is nothing. You know, to them it's nothing. That's a tragedy of our governance. They better go and get money to fight terror and malaria and TB, and then sort the Agnes issue. To them, Agnes issue is not a priority. Their priority is to get more money, fund development, fund education through the Ministry of Education, where UK funds are pumps billions of shillings. So, if the Kenyan government continue insisting on sorting out Agnes Wanjiru, definitely UK would ask questions.
Despite the fact that justice remains locked behind doors of international diplomacy, the family of Agnes remains devoted to chasing it for her and her daughter Stacy.
Ukimwangalia hivyo unasikia kulia, sababu hata yeye anakuuliza kitu. Kwani huyo mzungu alifanya nini mama yangu? Mama yangu alikuwa amemfanyia nini? Na kwa nini ashikwi mtu? Ameshikwa, unamwambia hapana hajashikwa, sababu wewe si mdanganya ati ameshikwa na hajashikwa. Kutoka ajue mama yake si mimi, unamuuliza ni nini unalala? Hakuna. Ni nini unalala? Hakuna. Umekula? Na hajakula. Akitokea shule. Siku moja nikamuuliza tena, akaniambia ni hiyo vitu ziko kwa TV za mama yangu. Nikamuuliza ulijua aje? Nilijua sababu vyenye walisema naona huku ndio tunakaa. Alafu akaniambia yenye nilisikia hata nililia siku hiyo. Unajua baba wa kuzaa na baba wa kunilea ama mama wa kukulea ama wa kukuzaa ni mzuri, wa kukulea ni mzuri kuliko wa kukuzaa. Nilisikia ushugu. Nikaona sasa anaanza kuenda akijuaga mimi sio mama yake. Na nikamwambia ukweli, mimi si mimi mama yako. Akanisema hata kama ni hiyo, wewe ndio mama yangu na baba ndio baba yangu. Nikamwambia ni kweli. Inamwadhiri sababu kuna siku anakuja anakaa peke yake na kwa nyumba anakaa hataki kuongea, anakaa unamuuliza ni nini, anakwambia hakuna. Lakini wewe ukiwa mwerevu unaona kuna vitu anafikiria. Sababu hata venye ziliweko sana kwa TV alianza kufikiria sana, unaona anakuja anakaa anajikalisha peke yake. Anakuambia mimi nipeleke boarding. Hakukuwa boarding wakati huo. Mimi nipeleke boarding. Nilibidi nimtafutie shule ya boarding.
Is justice denied because she has a daughter who never knew her mother. She's now 13, around 13, 12, 13 there. You know? So what are we going to tell that lady? You know? She's going to reach the age of majority without justice being done for her mother. Is Kenyan government not ashamed? Is Kenyan government, is our political system, aren't our political leaders ashamed that a foreign army has been training in this country for the last 10 years after perpetrating the murder of one of our citizens?
Kwani wanachunguza nini hiki ambacho chenye hakijulikani? Mwenye kumuua mwenyewe aliandika kwa Facebook akasema for us as the family, compensation for her daughter and the guy to end up in jail because he went even further to make fun out of Agnes killing, and he has never got arrested. Nothing has been done even with. Hey, it's traumatizing every time that I hear about him, because for him he's walking free. South England, for us here, we are still struggling, trying to look for justice every time now and then. We knock doors, no one is opening doors for us. Unkept promises. Every time there is always a senior person coming from UK. They always promise us that justice will prevail soon, but quit soon.
Lawyer Kevin Kubai is the family's current advocate. While appearing in Parliament recently, Kubai questioned why, despite the courts issuing exhumation orders to get DNA samples from the deceased, the UK government has failed to match the retrieved DNA to the database of the officers in Kenya who were training when Wanjiru was killed.
The British Army has been getting away with almost everything. They can get away with rape, they can get away with murder, they can get away with development, and so his pattern has to end, and we have to hold them accountable for the sake of our people.
We are calling on all political leaders in this country not to allow another defense cooperation agreement to be signed before Agnes Wanjiru issue is sorted. It is expiring in 2026. We have 1 year and a half. That will be the expiry of the current agreement. Everyone must oppose until we have justice for Agnes and for her daughter Stacy, who is now 13 years. A case in Japan was sorted within 6 months. A Canadian was killed by a British army. The soldier is currently in Canadian jails. He's facing justice there. But for Agnes, because she was black, because she was a native, because to them she is a half citizen, she can never get justice. Kenyans must say no.
Mimi nikuomba tu haki ya Shiro ipatikane. Kule munene wa magoti ingĩenda kũmũhoya tu atwĩkĩre justice ya Agnes tondu twina ruo rwa ngoro miaka iyo 13 ni twetereire tutiona kihoto twahanire ruta twikarire uta twikarite ugo tutire hare turi.
Political leaders must not allow the renewal of the agreement before the Agnes issue is sorted out. Whatever the price, whatever the consequences of Kenya and UK bilateral relationship.
I don't know, from rape to bombs to deaths, and it's a very sad scenario, and I hope at the end of it all, these Kenyans are able to get justice at some point.